Hello, everybody. I'm Matt.
And I'm Maggie.
And we are...
Hopefully awesome.
That's right. A positive place on the internet where we nerd out about all the geeky things we love. And this week's geeky thing is... Smallville? Or Superman? What? Who knows? Okay, all right. The bit's not gonna work. So before we get going, Maggie, do you want me to explain what's going on, or do you want to try and explain?
You can explain.
Okay, so I'm gonna try and crank up her volume so you're not having to up your volume knobs. Are volume knobs even still a thing? I digress. So Maggie has laryngitis. We talked about it, and I was like, do you still want to try and do Smallville? And she said, sure. So, here we go. We're going to do it. No, I mean, obviously, I'm pretty capable of running my mouth nonstop, so I think I can handle this one. But yeah, so if you're wondering why you hear those whispers, that is why. Also, hey, we're back. This is our first going back to Smallville after having COVID. That's right, everybody. We were actually out for a month. If you've been keeping up with us on social media, we tried to keep everybody apprised of what was going on, but we did get COVID. Everyone's fine. We're all good. We actually talked in length about it on the Hopefully Awesome show this week. So if you would like to know that whole spiel, please feel free to go and do that. But yeah, so we had a lot of plans for September, and those plans obviously kind of fell. So the original plan was we were going to do a 2-part podcast episode. One half of Superman the movie, the other one, the second half of Superman the movie. And then we were going to review the entire series as one episode. And then we were going to go into season 2 at the beginning of October. So we're going to kind of smush those 3 episodes together. And we're going to do Superman the movie, and talk about like our Smallville tournament and all that fun stuff. So this is it. But next week we start season 2. So if you're psyched, if you're ready, get ready, because it's gonna be a banger, head banger like Maggie's doing right now. She's just head banging away. Bang your hand. Oh no. All right, Maggie, you know what? You better stop. And you better settle down. All right. Before you give yourself a headache. You don't want a headache on this journey. Okay. Because if you have a headache on this journey, I don't know if you'll be able to handle it. Because we're going back to Smallville. I was trying really hard. Thank you. Want me to, here you go. Thank you. We should create a Maggie soundboard. She's shaking her head, yes.
Yes. Sorry.
No. Don't be sorry. This is going to be great.
Oh,
all right, everybody. So...
I just want to say, I apologize for anything that he says.
She might have laryngitis, but she still knows how to throw some shade, everybody. So... yeah. No, it's fun. It's fun. No. How dare you?
I love Superman.
You're acting like Wawa right now.
How dare you? Compare?
What?
How dare you?
What? I can't.
Shut the hell up. How dare you compare me to that piece of crap?
Wawa?
Yeah.
Wait,
Did
no,
he
you
say
were telling me
bye to
that
his
you really
mommy?
liked him.
No.
Yeah.
I don't remember this.
Well, I'm sorry, honey. Nobody can hear you. I guess, well, you're just going to have to assume you're agreeing with what I'm saying.
No.
That you actually love Wawa.
No. I don't like him.
Okay.
He didn't say bye to his mom.
That's true. And his siblings.
Yes.
Yeah. His
pretty
dad died and he was like, peace, I'm out. Yeah. But Lana, you better freaking wait for me.
You better wait for me.
Now let's dance to Lifehouse and wear purity rings. They were banging. All right, so here we go, everybody. Buckle up. we're gonna try and get through this one quick. All right. Pray this is not a 3-hour episode. It should not be. But start your watches. Ready, set, 2, 9, 10, go. All right. Superman the movie. Original air date December 15th, 1978. That is the first time it's aired in theaters. I don't think air is the right word there. The writers. So we've got a little bit here. The screenplay was written by Mario Puzo of Godfather fame, David Newman, Leslie Newman, Robert Benton, and there were rewrites by Tom Mankiewicz. The story by Mario Puzo, again, Godfather. And it was based on Superman, created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Directed by Richard fucking Donner. Let me tell you, this movie holds up. All right, maybe not so much the Lex side of things, but literally everything else still wonderful. And we'll talk about it as we go. But man, I was a little bit scared going into this. I was afraid that maybe my memory of it was stronger than the actual movie was. Happy to say it wasn't. And we watched the extended cut, like the longer version, with the poem and everything. And oh yeah, you better believe we're going to talk about the poem. So that being said, we start off on the planet Krypton.
I can't hum.
That's not Superman. I'm not sure what that is, but it's definitely not Superman. Jor-El is prosecuting General Zod, Non, and Ursa for their crimes of treason. The council all votes guilty, 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 guilty. And then they all fade away. And then Zod's like, all right, bitch, I'm Zod. And it has to be in the unanimous, Jor-El. So you're the final vote, and it's up to you, Jor-El. And if you vote, I like how I just dropped the accent altogether. And if you vote guilty, then it is on your head, and I will not rest until the House of El falls. Not only you, Jor-El, but your fucking seed. And Jor-El's like, bye, bitch. Guilty. And then he hits a button, and then like a piece of glass comes flying, and then I don't know, it hits the screen, and then all of a sudden they're inside this piece of glass, and it's just like flipping and screaming. Yeah, and they're like,
let me out.
We are not guilty. We just wanted to rule Krypton.
Anarchy.
And Nom's like, no! Fire! Burn! Oh! Shit. Alright, so then the three are imprisoned into the Phantom Zone. And then, you know what, the lights come up. All those fucking cowards come walking around. All the guys, the council of Krypton, right? They all come walking out there. Because they all had to be on fucking screens, but Jor-El was like the only one man enough to be actually in front of the three bastards, you know? But then they're like, oh, good job, Jor-El. You did so good. Just 10 points to Gryffindor. Is this whole thing just going to be you reenacting what I'm saying?
Yes.
All right. I'll try to get behind this. And then he's like, all right, thanks guys. But for real, Krypton's gonna die. Have you ever heard of global warming? You fucking assholes. Because this here planet Krypton is a globe, and it's warming because our fucking sun is about to explode. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Like, our whole planet is ice. You think that's normal? You think that's normal? No, it's not fucking normal, you stupid fucks. And they're like, you don't know. Global warming's not real. Greenhouse gases. I remember more fun just watching Maggie. Like, trying to say what I'm saying. And then Jarell's like, well, this may be an inconvenient truth for you to hear, but Krypton's going down, fuckers, and I ain't watching it go, so fuck off, eat my ass, bitches. And he walks away. And he's like, stuff that in your crystal and smoke it. And they're like, wow. So then we're at the House of L. And Jarell and Lara, they prepare a ship for their son, Kal-El, so that he may be saved. Jarell picks Earth because it will give Kal abilities to protect himself. Lara knows that this will make him feel alone and an outsider. Krypton begins to fall. Lara and Jarell place baby Kal-El in the ship. And Jarell says, you will travel far, my little Kal-El, but we will never leave you. Even in the face of our death, the riches of our lives shall be yours. All that I have, all that I've learned, everything I feel, all this and more, I bequeath to you, my son. You will carry me inside you all the days of your life. You will make my strength your own and see my life through your eyes as your life will be seen through mine. I'm sorry. The son becomes the father and the father the son. This is all I can send you, Kal-El. And it was very sad. Like, honestly, for real, like, watching this happen, like, it was really sad, man. Like, I was crying, like, shit. And I mean, we have a kid now, so that may have made it, like, more hardcore.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, like, just, you know, it's just, I don't know. Like, you can obviously extrapolate, like, in the real world how things like this have happened. Obviously not with spaceships, but, you know, where people have had to give up their children just to save them, to protect them, you know. So it's definitely, it's strong. It's really strong. And I mean, the score here, John Williams, obviously, is just phenomenal. And then the visuals of Krypton imploding on itself and, you know, it's melting. And it like the camera at one point goes like tilted and everything's like Dutch angles from then on. And it's like a horror movie. Like, you are watching these people die, like an entire civilization. Like, they don't shy away from it. I mean, people, like, remember when, like, the middle opens up and people are just falling straight into the core? Like, it's nuts, man. It's crazy. Really good. Like, even for a movie that came out in 78. Like, it's still really good. So, the ship lifts and flies into space while Krypton explodes. Sun goes out. And then, you know, Kal-El, he's just sitting there in his little baby spaceship. And then, oh, what's that? We just wanted to rule.
This is for school.
We weren't trying to do anything bad. We were just visiting the capital.
A's for anarchy.
So, so in space, a few years go by as baby Kal-El ages and is taught many lessons from Earth. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 somebody save me! That's right. Clark's ship, well, Kal-El's ship, crashes onto the planet Earth. Right in front of old John Boy Kent and Martha Wallaby Martha. Let me tell you, they're just old fucks riding around in this Ford truck, and they're like, "Ah, shit, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna have a heart attack. I'm gonna keep driving, Avery. Keep driving. Like, remember when Marty shows up in the past and he like tries to go home and like the homes haven't even been built yet, and then those old people drive by. He's like, hey, do y'all know which way it is? And then she's like, keep going, Marty, keep it. He's like, oh. That's Jonathan and Martha Kent in this movie, okay? They are, Lord love their hearts, they are 173 years old the entire runtime of this movie. It's crazy. Just old fucks, okay? I can't stress this enough. If you thought, like, the two skeletons were cast, you wouldn't be far off. Alright? So, Kal-El's ship crashes. And like Martha walks over there and like picks him up and it's like, oh no, I'm falling, I can't get up. And then Jonathan's like, oh, I'll help you, Martha. And he's like, oh, my hip, god damn it. And then Kal-El drags him out to the road, and he's like, oh, can you pick up my teeth while you're at it, Sonny? Oh, thanks. And so then their truck got a flat tire or something, I don't know, and Jonathan's like, trying to change the tire, and Martha's like, oh, we should adopt him, and Jonathan's like, what the hell are you talking about, devil woman? Don't you tell me my business. This is the 50s. Women can't talk. Women can't tell us how to raise a child. You shut your mouth and go make me some apple pies, god damn it. And Martha's like, what the hell is wrong with you, Jonathan? We love each other. He's like, no, I don't know. Just in recent days, it feels like my heart is just not the way it used to be. Foreshadowing. Not really. And then, truck falls, almost kills Jonathan, but Kal-El like lifts up the truck right over his head, and they're like, oh my god, it's a fucking miracle. Holy shit, this is the 50s. They just keep saying what year it is for some random reason. And then Jonathan's like, I don't know if we can adopt this kid. And she's like, but he chose us, Jonathan. And Jonathan goes, Martha Clark Kent. And everyone's like, oh, that's where the name came from. Clark was her maiden name. So then, we're sitting there, and then, what? Football players, all of a sudden, playing football. Clark turns around. He is now an 18-year-old boy. Oh, Jesus.
Sorry.
And he's just wearing the highest pants you have ever seen. He looks like, remember that guy on I Love Lucy? Fred?
Yeah, Fred.
Like, remember his pants were like above his nipples at one point? Because they're just so high. They ate his tie. Like, he had to feed the pants, Maggie. And so Clark's doing this, right? And he's like, oh, gee willikers. And then Lana comes running over, and she's like, oh, hi, Clark. We're all going down to the beanery, and we're going to get fucking shit-faced, because it's the fucking 60s, bitch. Yeah. And Clark's like, what's a beanery? And then they're like, oh, sorry. Whitney walks over. It doesn't say what his name is, but we're assuming it's Whitney. He walks over. He's like, oh, sorry, Kent. Guess you can't go. And he's like, why? He's like, because you got to stack up all those things, Taub fuck. And Clark's like, I already did that. And he's like, are you sure? Turns around, all this shit just fucking on the ground because Whitney's a fucking piece of shit. No matter what universe it is, Clark and Lana just never, just can't, because fucking Whitney just always chopping his balls off, Sorry, this might be a little too brutal. And then so everybody leaves, and then Clark's like, I'm so angry, I can kick this football, and he kicks the football and it goes flying. And like, I don't know, it passes Saturn or some goofy shit happens. I don't know. And then he's like, God, I'm so angry. I just want to run. And then he takes off running. And that boy could run, let me tell you. Clark's just running down the road, and he was running. He just running, and he ran all the way to one way, and then he turned around and started running the other way. And then he reached another ocean, and so he turned around and started running again the other way. And pretty soon, there were people trying to run with him. And there was one guy that wanted to make a t-shirt, and all he had was yellow shirts. And Clark got dirty, and so the guy gave Clark the yellow shirt. And Clark put his face on it, and it made a smiley face. And then, what is our dog doing? Our dog just went on the table. And then
Lucy.
he put his face on and said, have a nice day. And then, I don't know. I lost the Forrest Gump reference somewhere in there. Yeah, he had to pee. He was drinking Dr. Peppers. And so then Clark is like running by a train. And he's like, fuck, look at this train. I'm going to race this train. And then he's like, here comes the train. And then he jumps over the train. And there's a little girl. And she's like, Mommy, I saw a man. And then the mom's like, Lois Lane, you know better than to lie. What? Lois is in this movie? I mean, we knew she was. But she saw him as a little girl. So that means that Clark is at least 10 years older than Lois in this. Let's think about that. When Clark was trying to get some Tang in high school. Lois is just a little girl. He's kind of a sleazeball if you think. I'm sorry. Just the idea of calling it Tang is just the worst thing. So then Clark arrives at home. And he's talking to Jonathan about wanting to be normal like everyone else. And Jonathan assures Clark that he is here for a reason, son. And it's not to play goddamn football, you fucking bitch. I was in Normandy! Listen, Clark. Listen. I know you think it's tough being strange, okay? But you know what was tough? One time, the rain came, and this rain rained for days, and it flooded this whole county. And my God, Clark, me and Papaw Kent, your Papaw, and my dad, but your Papaw, we were out there, and we was at it all fucking night, trying to make sure these crops didn't drown. Trying to move that water. And so we got this water moved, Clark. And then, we were in there and Mamaw made some sweet pie. We were eating our hero pie. But then what? We didn't get rid of the water, Clark. The water just trickled down to the next farm. And while we were eating our hero pie down at the Ross farm, their horses were drowning, Clark. And I can still hear them, Clark. I can still hear those horses screaming. I hear the screaming horses, Clark. They're real. They're real, Clark. Clark's like, Dad, what are you talking about, Daddy? And he's like, horses! No! No, the horses! And he falls over of a heart attack and he dies. As his last breath, Clark reaches down to his dad. His dad says, Clark, the screaming horses were real. And that was it. Jonathan Kent dies. And then we're at the funeral. Clark confides in his mom that even with all his powers, he couldn't save his dad. But for real, Jonathan Kent died. Like, in that moment, yeah. Sorry. Of a heart attack. Not because of screaming horses. Because Clark wanted to have a foot race. Because he's a piece of shit. Sorry, what?
I thought the screaming horses weren't supposed to come back.
They didn't.
But
They didn't come back in Smallville. This is Superman the movie.
Back.
This is Superman the movie. I don't know what to tell you. I don't make the rules, alright? The screaming horses are never coming back in Smallville.
I'll let you buy this time.
Because remember, it was actually an evil twin Jonathan Kent that was in the entire season 1. Alright, moving on. Now, next week when we do season 2 premiere, we're not bringing any of that up. Like, because if anybody wants to jump in at the season 2 premiere, I don't want to have to. I don't have to try and understand our fake history of Jonathan Kent's evil brother. Okay, and the screaming horses, like, and pee pee. Oh, we're gonna have pee pee. I forgot about pee pee. It's been too long, man. Oh God! All right. So soon after the funeral, Clark's trying to sleep. And then he hears something in the wind. And it's, he's like, huh, what the fuck? And he goes and he sees this lot in the barn. And he opens the barn. And then down in the storm cellar, there's a crystal. And it's green. It is not kryptonite. It's just green. And it's calling out to him. And then Clark takes this green crystal, stands at the edge of, the field, looks out at the sunset. Bum, 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 ba-da-dum, bum, 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 bum. And then old Ben Kenobi walks over and says, Clark, I understand you must be going on this journey. Don't worry, son. I'll be watching over the farm. Your daddy would be very proud of you, son. And Clark's like, I love you, Ma. And then he leaves. So, I'm not even going to explain it. So we see Clark travel and shit, and then he ends up in the Antarctic, right? Why he thinks that's the way to go, I don't know. Is this crystal giving him directions? Is it like Google Maps in crystal form? Who the hell knows? But he walks up and he's like, you know what I could really do right now? You know what would just make me just so fucking happy? Like, I'm at the edge of the earth. I have this fucking green crystal. What if I just chucked it in the water? You know? I mean, what else is there to do at this point?
What you got to lose?
You know? I'd be frostbit if my skin wasn't made of steel. It just still hurts, though. And so he's like, you know what? Fuck this crystal, and chucks it in the water. And he's like, I guess that's it. I guess this is where I die. And then, what's happening? What's happening?
Jitters.
And as it falls into the water, large crystals begin to grow. And they climb. And they form the Fortress of Solitude. Clark enters the fortress and finds a hologram of Jor-El. Your name is Kal-El. That sounds like Obi-Wan. You are the only survivor of the planet Krypton. Even though you've been raised as a human, you are not one of them. You have great powers, only some of which you have as yet discovered. They begin Clark's 12-year education. 12 fucking years. On top of, like, the 4 years in the spaceship. Like, I guess children are taught for 12 years. Now that I think about it. So I guess it's not that weird. 12-year education to learn who he is, where he came from, and that he can never interfere with human history. They make a very specific mention. You know, he's like, oh, yeah, maybe you can fucking fly and shit, but hey, you should never change history. Ever. And it's like, you know, we as the audience really needed to hear him say that. Like, we really needed to hear it. They drill that home, you know. They're like, yeah, laser eyes and cellophane ass and all that. But listen, no. Time travel? Don't you fucking do it, man. I could have done it on Krypton and saved everybody. But you know what? I didn't fucking do it. Because I ain't a little bitch, Clark. Clark's like, what the fuck's wrong, Dad? Shit. You're not even my real dad. And so then, here we go. Live as one of them, Kal-El, to discover where your strength and your powers are needed. But always hold in your heart the pride of your special heritage. They can be a great people, Kal-El. They wish to be. They only lack the light to show the way. For this reason, above all, their capacity for good, I have sent them you, my only son. For whosoever shall believeth in you shall not perish, but have everlasting life. And then Clark reappears in the fortress. He reappears, but what? He's not just standing there. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. He's flying. He's flying! And he's in a red and blue suit, and the House of L symbol is emblazoned on his chest, and he lifts off the ground and flies away now as fucking Superman. Bum, bum, bum. But not yet. We don't get the music just yet. And then, hard crash. We're in a fucking taxi in Metropolis, and it's now 1978. And that's right, everybody. Drugs are rampant. You got prostitutes, sex, drugs, Dennis Hopper, everything. All that shit is everywhere, right? And then so we go to the Daily Planet. Lois and Jimmy are talking to like multiple people and stuff. And then you know, we start meeting the people of the Daily Planet, right? And then Chief Perry White introduces Lois to Clark, who now wears glasses and acts bumbling. Hi, Miss Lane. I'm Clark Kent. Nice to meet you. Wouldn't want to be you. And Perry's like, not only does he know how to treat his chief, not only does he give me the stories on time, but he's the goddamn fastest typist I've ever seen. Bum. Get it? Because he's got super speed. These are where the jokes start coming in, everybody. Hope you're ready, because they're coming in. Not as much as in Superman 3 when Richard Pryor shows up. they show up a little bit. And so then Lois and Clark are leaving for the day. He's like, hey, Miss Lane, can I walk with you? And Lois is like, what? Huh? Okay, I don't care. And so they're walking, and then, oh no, this guy points a gun at him. He's like, hey, you, come over here. Hey. What?
Hey.
What?
I'm trying to fight you.
Oh, are you the...
Hey.
Hey, I'm walking. Hey,
I got a gun pointing at you.
And then Clark's like, oh, Lois, you better do what he says, Lois.
Give me your purse.
And Lois holds up the purse, drops it, and Clark's like, Lois, what are you doing? He sounds really scared. It's really funny. Like, it's actually really good. Kristin Reeve is really funny at this. And then the thief shoots. And slow-mo. Oh, I thought Clark got hit. No, he didn't get hit. He actually caught the bullet. He holds up the bullet and like looks kind of at the camera, like winks, you know, and then keeps going. So I don't know. Can he see us?
Is he meta?
Is he meta? Well, in DC Comics, that's what they call like mutants. They call them meta-humans.
Oh.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it is.
My bad.
Do you mean like She-Hulk?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fourth wall breaking. Yeah. I guess. So, I think this is where we meet Otis. That's exactly what it says in my notes here is. I think this is where we meet Otis. Let me just say, God. You need to say.
Fuck Otis.
Otis might be...
He's horrible.
In a franchise full of just dumb, stupid shit, Otis may be the worst. Otis is just dumb. He's just dumb. And like, why does Lex have Otis? Like, I don't understand. Like, why? I mean, I know why. Because that's comedic. You know, like they wanted to have this for whatever reason, you know? I don't know. And then he's walking into the trains and shit. And then Lex and all that. That's literally what my notes say. My notes say, I think this is where we meet Otis. Him walking into the trains and shit. Lex and all that. That's it. That's the whole thing.
The police were chasing him.
Yeah, and then he kills the police.
Yeah, he kills the police.
He get hit by a train.
Yeah.
And host is like, oh gee, Lex, I'm an old prospector apparently.
Mr. Luthor.
Oh, Mr. Otisburg. Ah, shit. He's Adam Sandler. So then Lois, we're back at Daily Planet. We're going to skip over that. So Lois is back at the Daily Planet, and the president's coming into Metropolis, right? But if she tries to take a taxi over there, then by God, she's never going to make it. So what does she do? She calls up Chief, and she's like, hey, can I get on the fucking helicopter, Chief? And Chief is like, sure, you bet your fucking ass you can. I don't know why I'm cussing every other sentence. I think it's just to be funny, but I don't know if it's funny. And Lois gets on the helicopter, but the helicopter gets stuck on a wire and starts to crash. And then Clark is like, oh shit, what's going on? And everybody's like screaming, like, oh my God, she's gonna die. And then Clark's like, boom, 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 boom. Bum 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 bum, and like he looks at the phone booth, and it's like, I can't change in that, and everybody's like, oh, get it, because Superman used to change in a phone booth. And then he runs into a door that spins, and when he spins, it goes bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum, and he takes off into the air, and he grabs. Lois is hanging off the side, and she falls, and then so Superman flies up and catches Lois. Bum, 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 bum. And then he's like, "Don't worry, miss, I've got you." And she's like, "You've got me. Who's got you?" The jokes are just coming at you, man. So then, he lands her down. He lands the helicopter down, and he's like, Miss Lois or Miss Lane, I hope I hope this doesn't turn you off of flying. It is statistically the safest way to travel. And she's like, what? I think she passes out or something. Yeah. And then Superman just starts flying around the city, right? He's performing various heroic acts. He saves the president's plane. He's like one of the engines at one point. He stops a robbery, fucking Batman 66 style, where he's just standing on the side of a building. And then he saves a cat out of a tree, and he's like, "Here you go, little girl." And the little girl takes the cat, and she's like, "Mommy, a man came down from the sky and saved Whiskers." And she's like, "Doctor told you to stop lying!" And he smacks her. Like, what the shit, man? Superman causing domestic disturbances all of a sudden. It's fucked up. And then we see Superman just flying. He's flying upside down, and then the camera turns around, and he turns around, and he's flying right side up, right? And so then, what? What are you laughing about?
I had to turn the camera upside down.
Well, I'm trying to paint a picture with these words, okay? So now we're back at the Fortress of Solitude, and apparently I have this entire scene. There, all the lines from this scene, so I guess I'll read through this.
Oh boy.
Jor-El, you enjoyed it, Superman. I don't know what to say, Father. I'm afraid I just got carried away. Jor-El, I anticipated this, my son. And then Superman, you couldn't have imagined how good it would feel. Clark nods. You are revealed to the world. Very well, so be it. But you must still keep your secret identity. But why? The reasons are two. First, you cannot serve humanity 28 hours a day. Superman, 24. Jor-El, or 24 as it is in Earth time. Your help would be called for endlessly, even for those problems which human beings could solve for themselves. It is their habit to abuse their resources in such a way. That's right, everybody. Think about that. And this was 78 when this was true. So think about that. Superman. And secondly, Jor-El says, secondly, your enemies will discover their only way to hurt you by hurting the people you care for. Superman says, thank you, Father. Jor-El says, lastly, do not punish yourself for feelings of vanity. Simply learn to control them. It is an affliction common to all, even on Krypton. Our destruction could have been avoided had it not been for the vanity of some who considered us indestructible. Were it not for the vanity, why, at this very moment, I could embrace you in my arms, my son. Kal-El reaches yearningly towards his father's image, and Trill fades away. He's like, I'm sorry, I gotta go. And just pieces out. Like, he's just a hologram. Like, I mean, he couldn't just stay, like, the image couldn't just stay a little bit, like, I mean, I don't know. He just straight up ghosts him. He's like, oh, my bad, man. I didn't mean for you to want to hug. Like, come on. I'm Kryptonian. We don't do this shit. All right. So now we're back at the Daily Planet, right? And Chief is just fucking losing his shit. He's trying to tell everyone to go get an interview with this guy. And he says, whoever gets this interview will have the most important interview since God talked to Moses. So then we're at Lois's apartment. Something probably happened here where Superman knew to come to Lois's apartment, but we're at Lois's apartment. And then Superman and Lois have a conversation, right? And he's like, good evening, Miss Lane. And she's all dressed up. And at some point, Clark asked Lois to go to dinner, and she said yes. So that happened before this. So now this is the same night that they're supposed to go to dinner. And, you know, they're talking, and he's like, not giving her specific answers. And she's like, what, you know, can you see through walls? And he's like, yeah, I can see through anything. And she says, what color underwear am I wearing? And he says, actually, your plants must be made of lead or something.
Planters.
Yeah, your planters must be made of lead. I have trouble seeing through those. For some reason, he felt the need to tell this to an interviewer. Like, you know, because why would anybody need to know what he can't see through? But I digress. And then Lois comes out from around, and he's like, pink. And she's like, what is this? Pink. And she's like, oh, do you like pink? He's like, I like pink very much, Lois. Which, as you'll remember, Chloe, her dress was pink. And, like, Clark, like, mentioned that he liked the color pink. So that's kind of a call forward, I guess, as it would be. And so then Superman's like, you know, he talks to Lois, and he's like, you know what, you should see the world through my eyes. And Lois like, okay. And so they hold hands, and like he has her, and then they fly off, right? I don't know. And then of course, everybody, we get the best moment in cinema history. Okay, now I'm in a hard pause here. I was dreading this moment. Okay, I was because I know it's goofy. All right, can you read my mind? It's just like, why is she singing, or not even singing, reciting a poem, right? Just randomly in the middle of this movie. So we're gonna read it. Lois begins to think to herself, can you read my mind? Do you know what it is you do to me? Don't know who you are, just a friend from another star. Here I am, like a kid at the school, holding hands with a god or a fool. Will you look at me quivering, like a little girl shivering? You can see right through me. Can you read my mind? Can you picture the things I'm thinking of, wondering why you are, all the wonderful things you are? You can fly, you belong to the sky. You and I could belong to each other. If you need a friend, I'm the one to fly to. If you need to be loved, here I am. Read my mind. On the corner of Main Street, just trying to keep it in line. You say you want to move on, and you say I'm falling behind. Can you read my mind? Good old days, the honest man, the restless heart, the promised land, a subtle kiss, no one sees, a broken branch and a fucking trees. Well, I don't mind if you don't mind, 'cause I don't shine if you don't shine. Before you go, can you read my mind? Yes. So we watched rewatched this. And I'll be honest, by the end of it, it won me over. It was sweet. I don't know what to tell you. All right, I'm listening to it. It was very cute. I was shocked. I was like, this is going to be dumb as shit. And then we heard it, and I was like, man, this isn't dumb. It's sweet. Like, she's in love with him, right? And, like, we're just, you know, in comics, they do, like, the mind bubbles all the time, the thought bubbles, you know? And so, like, we're just getting that in this movie. And it was sweet. Like, you actually wanted Lois and Clark to end up together, you know? So, it was good. So, Superman and Lois land back at Lois's apartment. Superman leaves, and Lois realizes his name should be Superman. I forget exactly how she comes up with that. And then what? Clark knocks on Lois's door for their dinner. Lois is obviously distracted thinking about Superman. And they did all this in one shot, which was really interesting. Because he was dressed as Superman, and then he's Clark. I mean, I'm sure they did it some way, you know, to cover it, obviously. But... like, it looks like it's one shot. And I thought, you know, Richard Donner did a really good job there. And so Clark is standing there while Lois is putting everything together, you know, getting on her clothes on and stuff. And he takes his glasses off and he's like, I should tell her I'm Superman. And then he's like, Lois, can we talk? And she's like, just a minute, Clark. And then he decides to put his glasses back on and decides not to tell her. He's like, oh, okay, gee willikers. Well, we'll go on, Miss Lane. And then they go and eat fucking lobster or something. I don't know. Lois publishes her story. I spent the night with Superman. That was the name. Mm-hmm. Let's remember that. And then Lex reads it and for some reason hypothesizes that kryptonite exists. I have no idea. Like, why? How does he come to this conclusion? What did he read in this that would lead him to believe that there not only is radioactive fragments, or not only that there's fragments from his home planet on Earth, but that they would be radioactive and that they would be harmful to him? There's no reason for that. There's no reason for him to think that, right? Like the lead thing, sure, but like there's like why would he know? I digress. So Lex does some stuff and they steal some nukes and scheme and shit. I really did not care for the Lex side of the story, alright? So then, I don't know, some stuff happens. I'm not really sure. But one day, Superman hears a message from Lex that only Superman can hear. Superman tracks it down and is tested by multiple traps from Lex. We got fucking freeze rays. And with this freeze ray, he will stop the world. It's not a death ray or an ice beam. That's Johnny Snow. He just wants you to know that he's the guy to make you feel the feelings you don't dare to feel. And then they like, I don't know, machine guns. And then he's finally like, hey, Luthor, I made it through all your shit here. And Lex is like, you know what I'm going to do, Superman? You see this map of America? Did you know that if you put a nuke right here in California, that California would just fall off? Guess who owns now all the beachfront property? I do. I've bought it up for real cheap because people will always need land. That's what my daddy always said. So this is his plan. His plan is to destroy California so that he can own New California. New Lexington, and Otisburg.
It's the worst.
And then Miss Tessmacher is like, hey, wait, my mom lives there. And he's like, sucks to suck, I guess. And she's like, what the fuck, Lex? And he's like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I told you know I was going to blow up California this whole time. Shit. Don't paint me to be some sort of bad guy. And then Superman's like, you're not going to get away with this, Luthor. And then Lex is like, oh, yeah? Check out this chain, bitch. And it's a chain with kryptonite on it. And Clark's like, oh, no. And he's got the chain around his neck. And let me tell you, this chain hangs low. And then Lex like kicks him into the pool or something. Yeah. And then the nukes fly off and we see Jimmy at the Hoover Dam. And Lois is in California also. And then Miss Tessmacher is like, fuck, I can't let my mom die. So she jumps in the pool to save Superman. But what does she do before she takes the chain off of him? Gives him a big old smoochy smooch. And he's like, why'd you do that? And she's like, because I didn't think you'd let me do it after I saved you. And he's like, that's a good point. And then Superman leaves. He flies off. There's 2 rockets. One's going somewhere, and then Superman grabs it and throws it into space, right? And then the other rocket, while he's trying to do that, oh no, it blows up California. And the Hoover Dam, it hits and destroys California, the Hoover Dam, and kills Lois. And then Superman stops everything. Stops everything in time except... Oh, okay, got it. Superman stops everything. Like, he saves the Hoover Dam stuff. He stops Jimmy from dying. He saves everyone except Lois. That's the only person that he couldn't save. And Superman is distraught. We'll all remember the... And then fucking Marlon Brando in the clouds, like he's goddamn Jesus or something. He's like, my son, everywhere the light shines is our kingdom. And like, wait, what? He's like, oh, sorry, no, wrong cloud. You're looking for Jor-El over there. He's like, oh, sorry, Mufasa.
He knows Mufasa.
Yeah, hey man, I'll make up the rules. All right, he's flying in the clouds. He's a DeLorean at one point. It's the whole thing. And then the words of his father are playing in his mind. You can't change the past of history. You need to let go of the past, Clark. Kill it if you have to. All right, that's what he says. And then Superman screams and flies around the Earth so fast that the Earth begins spinning backwards. And he reverses time. And then Superman sets the rotation back and fixes everything. And he finds Lois and she's okay. And then he flies off. Yeah. So I don't understand, like, okay, so he went, let's just say this would work. It wouldn't. Like, just so we're clear, everyone on Earth would be dead. Okay? Like, just so we're clear. The Earth stopped rotating, even for a moment, everyone goes flying off into fucking space and they're dead. Right? Like, just the whole fucking planet. Alright, but let's just say, for argument's sake, this could work. So, like, when he turns the time back, then does that resets everything, right? So, like, the stuff that he saved is unsaved because all of time has been reversed, not just Lois, right? So he would have to resave everything. So let me ask you this, Maggie, all right? If the rocket was in space that he threw out, the first one, and then he reverses time on Earth, would the rocket return? Or would that not be there anymore because it's in space?
I don't know.
I feel like the rocket just wouldn't be there. Anyway, so Superman finds Lois is okay, and she's like, "Oh, I've been out here, blah blah blah," and Jimmy's like, "Oh, you're making me walk here." And he's like, "Sorry guys, gotta go." And then Lois and Jimmy are talking about it, and they're like, "Man, it's such a shame that Mr. Kent never sees this." And then Lois like, "Yeah, Clark is never around whenever Superman's around. I wonder." Nah, basketball will never be a game. And then, Superman takes Lex and Otis to jail. And they're like, "Thanks, Superman." And he says, who you got with you? And Lex, for some reason, takes off his wig that he's apparently been wearing this whole movie. And is like, "Lex Luthor, the greatest criminal mind in human history." Like, again, he just wants real estate. I mean, are all real estate agents crooks? Yeah, but I wouldn't say they're the greatest crooks of all time. Not all real estate agents. I mean, probably a few of them, though. Lex is bald. And so then Superman flies off into the sunset. But before he does, he looks straight at the camera and he gives him one of those. And then he just flies away. The end. Question mark? Hashtag Superman will return.
Let us out.
Nah, we'll talk about it in the next one. Next season. I was going to say the Richard Donner cut, the original ending, only had one missile.
Yeah.
And he saves Lois. Like, that's the missile that he saves.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, wait, was there two missiles? No, I think it was just the one. And, like, the one that was going towards Lois, he sends it into space.
Yes.
And it crashes into the Kryptonians. Yes. And then that releases them. Yeah. So, but we'll talk about that whenever we do Superman 2, the Donner Cut. That's right. After Smallville Season 2, we'll be doing that. Oh, gosh. We did it, everybody. That was Superman the movie.
Good job.
In only an hour, I think?
Yeah.
A little bit less than an hour. Wow. But you know what that means. It's time for the countdown to Billy. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I don't think it's ever accurate. So currently we are 71 weeks away from Billy. This has been the countdown to Billy. All right. So now let's get into the Freak of the Week.
Major Funky.
So the Freak of the Week this week is Lex, Otis, and Tess Mocker. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Back in 2006, before I watched Superman Returns, I rewatched Superman 1 and 2 and the Donner Cut. Right. And I was sick.
Yeah.
And so I was like fading in and out while watching it. Could have swore Miss Tess Mocker's name was Miss Titsfucker. Okay. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. I just remember, I very vividly remember Lex going, Miss Titsfucker! I swear. I don't know why. So the current rankings. There's no reason to do this. No, we're not doing this. They're not getting ranked. I just wanted to do the Freak of the Week and try. I didn't want a week to go by without it. All right, Maggie. No flats, no times. Did they break the rule this week?
Yes.
It's about fucking time you admitted it. I was waiting for you to say no. You never admit it.
Oh, wait. Let me think about it. No.
How?
He didn't do it.
He flew.
There were wires.
All right. Well, let me ask you this. Since it's Superman the movie, all right,
Yeah.
we're actually going to retool the no flats, no tots. Okay. All right. This section for this week only is, did you believe a man could fly? So the tagline for Superman the movie was, you will believe a man can fly. So, Maggie, did you believe a man could fly watching this?
Yes.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. We should get your brain checked.
I am half asleep right now. That's why I look like a chameleon every time I blink.
All right. Time for DCU references. Part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet.
You become part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it.
Sorry. Clark looks at a phone booth before his first time changing into Superman, a nod to his classic changing in various media. Superman stands on the side of a building while it's being robbed, a possible reference to Batman 66. What?
Just how you're reading them. Just like...
I mean, this is all bullshit, right? I mean, all this is just bullshit at this point. Like, we're just doing this out of obligation, all right? I love it, though. I'm glad we're doing it. The segments. Like, I mean, obviously, there wasn't a Freaks of the Weeks or anything. All right, but you know what, Maggie? Let's get into the talent mix.
Hey, I like these guys. Yeah. Remy Zero!
Superman theme by John Williams is played at various times. Can You Read My Mind is recited. I'm kidding. I don't even have that on here.
Can you read my mind?
Good old days, the honest man, the restless heart, the promised land, the subtle kiss no one sees, a broken bench and a fucking tree, and well, I don't mind if you don't mind, 'cause I don't
shine if if you don't shine before you go, can you read my mind?
It's funny how
Some sign.
All right,
To the front of your driveway.
Now let's get into our final segment, everybody. The Smallville Season 1 episode tournament. That's right. We are recapping our tournament real quick. Just gonna get this pulled up. Is your foot itching? You're rubbing your foot against my foot, like as if you're trying to scratch your foot. Quit! What are you doing?
I'm trying to keep myself up. I hate that I can't talk.
So here we go. Shit. Where is this? This is
torture.
All right. So
Help me.
all right. So we did one tournament recap in the last episode. So I don't have to talk about that one.
Okay.
So since the last episode, we've had several rounds. That's okay. So round one, the season 1 quarterfinals. Round 1 was, you okay? Pilot versus Tempest. Tempest won with 54% of the vote. Round 2 was Crush versus Kinetic, and Crush took 82% of the vote. Round 3 was Jitters versus Stray. Stray took it with 58% of the vote. Honestly, that just destroyed everything. That was my pick for the entire. I mean, it was like my pick, not the one I believed would win, but like I did think it would get a lot further than it got. But Stray's a good episode. Round 4 was Hourglass versus Zero. Of course, Hourglass took it with 73% of the vote. So after that, we moved on to the no. I can't find this. This is hard. We moved on to the season 1 semifinals. Round 1 was Tempest versus Crush, and Tempest crushed Crush with 80% of the vote. Stray versus Hourglass, and Stray beat that old woman to death with 60% of the vote. So then that left us with the final round for season 1, the best episode of season 1, as voted on by everyone over at twitter.com/hopefullyawesome. The final round was Tempest versus Stray, and the winner for our first ever Smallville season 1 best episode tournament goes to episode 21. Tempest. That's right. The season finale. You just can't escape the suck zone. I tasted the microphone. Oh, that was disgusting. Oh my god. I taste this metal. It's the worst.
Should I taste it?
Alright, Maggie. Any additional season 1 thoughts?
It was a blast.
Movie versus show. Are you? Let me ask you this: Are you glad that we went back and watched Superman the movie? Do you feel like you have a because obviously, I feel earlier on earlier on, okay, Smallville was somewhat conceived as a prequel to the Richard Donner movies, okay, in some way. Like in Miles Miller, in their heads, the end point was always to get to Superman the movie. Like that was the point, right? Obviously, it wasn't going to be an exact because the time frames were different, all that stuff. But so throughout Smallville, and you'll see, especially starting in season 2, they really start leaning into it more. But there's constant references to the Richard Donner movies. For a long time. And then finally around, I guess it's probably around season 8, they were like, they finally accepted that Smallville is just its own timeline and start deviating a little bit. Because it felt like there were some things they were doing almost as if they were beholden to the Richard Donner movies, and like they couldn't make choices to change things if they wanted to. So I'll leave that at that. But so I'm really glad that we watched this, because I think it'll be good to have this movie in mind while we're watching, especially the next season, but going forward. So what are your thoughts? Are you glad we did this?
Yes. Yes, I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing that like I asked you like 5 minutes asking that question, and you were like, yes.
Yes, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
All right. Well, speaking of a lot of fun, next week, ladies and gentlemen, season 2 of Smallville starts. That's right. Next time on Smallville, season 2, episode 1, titled Vortex.
Ooh, sucky.
Maggie, based solely off the title of the episode, what do you think season 2, episode 1 will be about? What's the plot?
Vortex, that could mean.
What?
Vortex.
Vortex.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't
thought you said,
talk any clearer.
I thought you said Fort Dix. I didn't even know. I don't know.
I love me some Fort Dix, yeah.
That's the ill-rated Fortnite clone. It's still the same. It's just all the pieces of wood are penises. You got any spare balls? You don't even want to know what the chug juice is. Oh my god. It gives a totally different meaning to the word headshot, okay? I'm just saying. Alright, what was you going to say? What was you going to say about Vortex?
Play me out, I'm retiring.
Alright, that's it, everybody. Maggie, Bryant, ladies and gentlemen, she has left the show. Goodbye, Maggie. Alright, well, that's going to wrap it up for us, I guess. Did you want to say what you think the next episode will be about?
Yeah, before I'm interrupted.
Sorry.
I don't have a voice, sir. Okay.
Do you want to top it out?
No.
And let Siri say it for you?
No.
Okay.
So, in my mind.
In your mind.
I'm thinking.
You're thinking.
Like science textbook, drawing of a vortex in space.
Oh, okay.
So the cone in a way, like a vortex.
In space.
Yeah,
okay.
I guess. I don't know.
Okay. No. That's fine.
So I'm just thinking of things being pulled into the vortex.
Okay. So you don't think it has anything to do with the tornadoes? Was that the last episode?
Yes. I hate you.
I love you.
I hate you.
Did you forget that there were tornadoes?
No, I didn't. I don't know. I'm so tired.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for us, everybody.
There's your old chuckle, laugh at the dumb girl.
Be sure to stick around for the post show.
Why? There's nothing.
We're going to be playing Box of Lies from Jimmy Fallon. So be sure to stick around for that over at patreon.com/hopefullyawesome. You can join us. You can get this show ad-free, extended, all the good girthy stuff. So be sure to do that. And hey, if this is your first time listening, if you enjoyed it, be sure and leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought. Also, be sure and hit that subscribe button on whatever podcast services or YouTube that you use. We would greatly appreciate it. And please share us around. Let people know next week, season 2. It's going to be good. Will Maggie have a voice?
No.
Will Maggie still be married to Matt? Or will she have decided to leave him after he laughed so hard at her? No. Don't say that. That was to you, saying it was a joke. Oh my God. All right. That's it, everybody. Thanks, as always. And we're glad to be back. Just so you know, we are very glad. We missed you all. We missed doing this. So it feels really good to be back. So with that being said, thank you for watching. And as always,
Have a hopefully awesome day.
bye.